Hi, this is Harriet Grayson, your host and producer for Community Culture Showcase. And today I have some very interesting guests. You might have heard of their larger organization, but I don't quite know if you know some of the all kinds of interesting stuff they do to help people. So I have representatives here from the Lions Club. Now a lot of you guys know who the Lions are, or you think you do, but wait till you hear these guys talk about some very interesting projects that they have. So one of their administrators is Tom. So Tom, I am really, it's just so interesting what you guys are doing. So why don't you let the audience know what it is in a general way, and then we'll talk about some of the toys we have here.
Well, Harriet, our organization is Lions Low Vision Centers, and what we do is we provide services to people who have low vision. So when you go to your doctor, your eye doctor, and he tells you that your vision, your acuity is 20/70, or up to 20/200, you're in a category called low vision. And if you're greater than 200, 20/200, you're actually legally blind. So we work with the category where you're not legally blind, but you still have vision. And what our organization tries to do is they hook you up with an occupational therapist, and the occupational therapist will do an evaluation, and then they'll try to provide you with some devices that we have that will help you get along with a better quality of life, we hope.
So you would start this chain of action in a sense. First you go to your eye doctor, your ophthalmologist, right? It has to be a physician.
It has to be, we prefer, it could be any physician, but our preference is an eye doctor,
Right.
because they actually know the statistics, the facts about your eye. So we actually really try and say an eye doctor. And so you go and you see your eye doctor, and if he doesn't recommend it, you could bring up to him that would going to a low vision center help me. And then if it does, he would fill out a prescription form, fax it into the location that's closest to your home, and then you would call that location and make an appointment, and then the fourth step is easy. You go to that appointment.
Let me ask then this, are most of the ophthalmologists in our area, are they familiar with what you guys do?
Some are and some aren't.
Okay.
So we're trying to actually get the word out more statewide.
Right.
We have 19 locations within the state of Connecticut. So there should be a location that's closest to most people.
And is it, do you take this kind of show on the road so that more and more, particularly if the gatekeeper is the ophthalmologist, you got to get through to a physician.
We do.
My daughter is a physician, and sometimes they're, you know, they're not listening.
Right.
Especially when you want to get, you have something else that's not necessarily in their particular purview. They figure, you know, what the heck. So have you made some approaches to like the ophthalmological, I'm not sure what kind of association?
So we've made some inroads with the optometry, not the ophthalmologist, the optometry group, and they're actually, this year, they're going to send out a letter statewide to all the optometrists. But now, what we really want is to also get in front of the ophthalmologists. And they have a convention that's happening this month, and part of our organizations are trying to get us into that group.
Invitations to be able to speak, to show,
there.
and to show all those, I don't know if you can, yes, you can see them, all the little toys you have here.
Oh, we do. We have a lot.
Yes. So why don't you introduce your fellow...
So Brian, and maybe Brian, this is Brian Duggan, and maybe Brian would like to talk about what some of these devices that could help people.
Certainly. The first thing, pretty obvious, is a keyboard. This
My
is
God, look at that.
relatively
Absolutely
large.
Fantastic.
One thing you might miss is the fact that there's tremendous contrast. You have basically dark black print on a yellow. Some people have problems differentiating gradations. One of the things low vision does is we basically try and find out if that is an issue. And if that's an issue, this is a salvation point.
Right.
Because it allows them to get into the world of computing.
Yes.
Once that world opens, there's infinite amount of new software that's available, and you can basically fine-tune a computer to present the right screen and the right audio to help people who have a problem with low vision.
Wow. And let me remind people, all these things are absolutely free.
All these devices are 100%
The
free.
Lions is as an incredible, wonderful social organization within our community, all over the place, all over the country. Yes.
And one of the things too is that once given this, we try and make sure that it's used and they learn how to use it properly. There's no
Okay.
sense in this going into a closet. We want this to be utilized. This is a very simple magnifying glass which has a light, and this allows people basically with low vision to be able to see printed words. It can be used to read newspapers, a Bible. And this is the type of device which very simple, it's very easy to use, it makes a big difference.
Yes, definitely. My mother used to walk around with a magnifying glass, and that's how she used to, and later on in life, that's how she used to actually get through.
That's how many of them do.
One thing we do is we give out large playing cards.
Oh, isn't that good?
I didn't bring one along, but we have bingo cards that are very large print. And one thing you can do to assist people with low vision is tell them to take whatever document they're having trouble reading, take it to their local photocopying center,
Okay.
and enlarge it.
Oh, yes.
So that world is open to them.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely.
Another problem people have with low vision is using common devices such as a telephone. Very large pad, very easy to use, and makes this person communicate with people in their life.
Yes,
One of the-
definitely.
That's a huge
Oh,
problem.
my,
A lot of
because
people,
everybody likes to
once
go
they
and call, yes.
start having low vision problems, they sort of start turning introverted and feel embarrassed to get out and see people. So
Right.
you start getting more of a hermit type of effect, and so they lose their communication skills. They're more afraid to be out there for embarrassment reasons too.
Yes. Now, that's wonderful about a phone, because that is,
Yes.
a lot of people don't have computers and they don't have cell phones, but almost everybody still has a regular phone, and that's
Yes.
absolutely what you said. Very, very important for people to be able to punch the numbers. Like for years before, we've had telephones that have been for people who can't hear.
Correct.
Special kinds of phones for
That would
people
actually
that can't
they
hear.
do the readout. Yes.
And now, I'm sure that they've been around, it's just that it's not been publicized that it's around.
Yes.
And most important of all, it's free.
Absolutely. 100%.
Another issue is people try and read the newspaper. This is a very good device because it segments the lines. It's very easy for them then to identify exactly what the story is talking about. It's also very useful for signing documents. If you have to sign a document and you can't see it very clearly, there's a space for you to sign. So these things are very, very simple, and yet what they do is they open the world
Oh, yes.
for people who have low vision.
This would be
Yes.
an envelope. There's several different, in some of these kits, there's several different things. So this would be for completing a check. This would be a more like a letter size envelope, not a number 10.
Okay.
And then this just is just sort of like a signature area. You want to just plop it down maybe on that check and just maybe, or something where you need to sign. So there's all different templates, and then it comes with a sort of a Sharpie type of, to write big and bold so you can see it.
And who's the person who's going to help the recipient actually maneuver and sort of get to, is it guys like you, or is it the OT person, or who's the person who's going to help them maneuver through some of this stuff?
That's a good question. So in order to, when you go to a low vision center, you're going to be paired up with an OT.
Okay, with occupational therapist, just for people who don't know what OT
Correct.
means, right?
And so that OT is going to teach you how to use all the different devices. And it shouldn't be that you just go see them once. This should be a therapy, so you'll probably have to do probably 3, 4, maybe even 5 visits, because they're gonna provide you with different items and have you do like homework and come back next week. Hey, how did you do with that device? Did it work? Are you having trouble with it? And they might work more on how to work better with it, or okay, now's a good time to present a new device.
Is there such a thing as the OT person coming to someone's home? Is that?
There is in-home service, okay?
Yes.
So we're partnered with a couple in-home service organizations, Day Kimball, in-home service. They're more in the northeast corner of Connecticut. And then Hartford Health at Home, we're partnered with them throughout the state.
Okay, they're everywhere.
Yeah, so if you're looking to get in-home service, you must be homebound in order for them to be able to come into your home, in order for Medicare or insurance to pay. But if you're, so you would contact, your doctor says you should see an occupational therapist for low vision, you can actually contact Hartford Health at Home and schedule an OT to come in.
And that would then open a lot of things like having a telephone, even reading the mail, would allow a person who's homebound to feel that they're much more part of the world.
And they do an assessment of your home while they're in there to see if there's other dangers that they can actually help. Like maybe stair risers need to be marked so that you see where the stair riser is, where each stair begins. Maybe something as simple as putting some motion lights on the stairs so that as you're going up the stairs, it actually lights the steps so that you can actually see. All those devices are in their purview to provide.
As part of their insurance, which is a little different than you guys, which is actually just free.
The insurance will not cover most devices. They're called durable medical equipment, and most insurances do not cover that. And so we provide all those devices free.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so they don't have to worry about, most cases, a visit with the occupational therapist might cost a copay for their insurance for the occupational therapist time, but the devices are all provided 100% free.
That is fantastic, just fantastic.
Some of these are very low cost, but they have a tremendous impact on people's lives. This is basically touch sensors. These are little tiny bumps that are adhesive. They go on your radar. I mean your
microwave oven.
Microwave oven.
Or your stove, or anywhere where tactile, you want to say maybe the oven needs to be 350. So when that dial hits that certain spot, I'm at 350. If it's a gas range maybe, or even an oven.
Tell you that you've reached the 350?
No, you would stick a dot onto the dial.
Okay.
And then you would stick a dot where the top is. So when the dial turns and they line up, now you're at 350.
Okay.
You got it?
All right.
And something as simple as pouring a cup of coffee or filling a cup with a hot liquid. This goes inside the cup. When it reaches the level, before it will overflow, it buzzes.
Wow.
And tells them stop pouring.
Yes.
Things that we take for granted are inaccessible, so these are tremendous helps.
Yes, absolutely. Does it require a battery?
Yes,
it
there's
does.
a 9-volt battery that goes into the bottom of it, but and that creates the electricity so when the liquid hits these sensors over here, it actually shorts it out, and which makes it beep.
Yes, yes.
And then it has a third sensor if you keep on going and you went too,
even further.
It'll make a new tone.
Oh, all
like
right.
Stop.
Yeah, stop is right. Exactly. And then we have the some glasses.
They're slipovers. They go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, they basically fit over the glasses, and what they do is they prevent certain lights coming in. So depending on the sensitivity of the eye of this particular patient, we would basically be able to give them vision without glare and vision without issues.
Wow.
So everything here basically allows people to get back to the normal. Because one thing that happens is you don't want people to feel isolated, away from their relatives, away from their normal events, away from playing cards, away from using a keyboard and a computer.
Yes.
And it really is marvelous because they're low cost, yet it opens the world.
And in general, these are not only are they, well, you're giving them away for free, but they're actually fairly simple to make in terms of manufacturing. You're right, like really not an expensive thing to manufacture in the first place. So I'm sure there's special companies that actually produce these particular, very specific products. But that's wonderful. So So if someone's watching this program and you have macular degeneration, which I understand is a leading cause of actually going blind or having that low blind kind of feeling, is to what? Contact you? You have a email address or so? How do people get in touch with you to start the process?
So they can actually go onto our website, which is LionsLowVisionCenters.org, and that location would actually tell you a little bit about low vision. Would talk to you about where all our locations are, and then what you might want to do is actually either print down a brochure so you can look it over, take it to your doctor, and we have what's called a prescription form.
Okay.
So the prescription form is what we ask the doctor to fill out. So you could actually print this and take it to your doctor, and he would complete it, and then he'll fax it in to one of the 19 locations that we have. You tell him, you know, I live in Groton, so actually we have a low vision center in Mystic.
Okay.
So at the Hartford Health on Bacchus Avenue, Bacchus Road, I believe. And then you would call there and schedule that appointment, and then go to that low vision appointment.
So the first step then is to contact you guys, or better still is to get online. Repeat again what the website is.
So the website is Lions, Lions, Low Vision Centers.
And that's with a plural.
Yes,
centers.
it's plural.
Right.
Centers spelled out with an S. .org, and that'll give you all. You know, you'll find on there. There's a menu option called Locations, and you can just put in your zip code, and it will actually bring up the closest location to you. There's other information. There's a literature tab which will let you find these forms, this brochure, and the prescription form, and you could print those down. And there's others. There's a contact tab that you can actually send an email to us.
Oh, directly,
directly through that.
Okay, yes.
And then we'll get the email and we'll react to that. We'll respond to that email. So there's several ways. There's also an 800 number. It's actually 866-319-9733.
Say it again.
866-319-9733. That is a very good number to call. It goes into our call center, and they can actually answer many questions about locations. They could tell you a little bit about the program. If there's questions that they can't answer, they will transfer you to a representative that can. So that's a very good resource
sometimes they're
number.
not into the internet business, but they are into still looking with the telephone. And
Yes.
that
And it's a good, you know, sometimes, you know, people who have low vision may not be using the computer, may not be doing that, but they probably can do the phone.
Right.
And speaking of phones and devices, if you bring some of your phones to the appointment, the occupational therapist can help you actually make adjustments to that phone so that things are larger. They can talk to you about certain apps that can be loaded onto the phone that can actually identify money, can turn text into speech, or speech into text, vice versa. And they can do that for your laptops. They can do that for your iPads and your different cell phones.
Wow,
Yes.
that's really
Yes.
very handy. So now let me ask you, how did you get interested in doing this?
Actually, that like 12 years ago, actually,
Yeah.
I was asked to. There was an administrator that had my role, and he was actually saying, "I've had enough." You know, he's done it for years, and so they were looking for an administrator, and so I actually said, "Yeah, I will do that job," and I've been doing it since. So I started in 2000. I think it was 2012. It might have been 11, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have people in your family that have this vision issue? I mean, you yourself don't look like you have a particular vision issue.
Well, I did have a vision issue, but
Oh.
this was prior. I actually I had cataracts.
Okay.
And I had cataracts out, and it improved my vision a lot.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
So I was having trouble at night with headlights. They would
Yes.
blind me,
Yes.
and I'd be like, "Where's the road?"
Right.
And so I had cataract surgery, and it proved it. But there are some people that come to us that they're either very elderly or very frail, and the doctor, even though they have cataracts, the doctor would say, I'm not going to take them out because you're actually kind of frail, and I don't want to actually put your body through that kind of stress. So they would actually then come to the low vision center, and we would help them work with, like, we would actually provide them with different slipovers that we have 3 different models that have different shades for different glares.
Oh,
So
okay.
we would provide them with the appropriate one that would help them with maybe, in my case, headlights coming on.
And what do you use for headlights coming up?
So probably, actually,
These
believe it or
yellow
not,
ones?
this yellow one is probably the most effective. for
Because
that.
I still have trouble with the headlights coming in.
Yes.
So I need a pair of those yellow ones.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
you leave, I'll take one of those yellow ones.
Yes.
To help.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us, how did you get interested in this?
Well, I had a background that was very interesting in terms of new medical devices, specifically for ophthalmology.
Okay.
Argon lasers and some of the developments that happened in the early 70s. I'm retired. I went through COVID-19. I decided I was too isolated. I heard about this group that dedicated specifically to low vision. Found out that Helen Keller died in Easton, Connecticut. And to my amazement, not too many people knew that. So Helen Keller's role in Connecticut, in addition to her role with doing American Civil Liberties Union, she did a tremendous amount of good, women's suffrage, but her big impact was on the Lions because she actually went to a Lions meeting and challenged everyone to be involved in helping people with low vision. And
Isn't
I
that
thought this is great,
fascinating?
and it was coincidental too with the eclipse. And I thought, the eclipse is interesting because 70% of the sun is closed, and people who have low vision suffer because 70% of their normal vision is perpetual. They don't have their complete visual picture. And so I said, this is a very good cause.
Yeah.
So I got quite excited, I still am, and we talk about it as often as we can.
It's interesting about, and why do you think that she got, well, I don't know much about her biography, so beyond just helping someone who was completely blind and deaf and dumb, I mean, how is it that she got involved in all these other kinds of social activities?
She was, first of all, a polymath. She had a lot of different skills. She wrote books, she did poetry, and she was involved very early because of what happened to her. And if you've seen The Miracle Worker, which was a movie that was out by Hollywood, it tells that portion of her life. But after that occurred, then she began her message in her world, which was to help people throughout the world who had blindness. And today, although we're working with low vision, Lions International works all over the planet. And so the glasses that you bring in for us to utilize go through an auto refractor. We know what that correction is. And that may wind up in Taiwan or Bangkok, helping someone with limited vision and limited finances to be able to see. So to me, it's a marvelous.
Well, it's a wonderful group because people think about seeing as being like, just they take it for granted. Well, once you're like a little kid and born, everybody sort of takes your vision for granted, unless God forbid that you have some kind of problem. As we get older, it becomes much more common. Absolutely. And we start feeling badly about the fact that we can't actually see stuff. I'm really excited about the oncoming traffic with those yellow glasses, because I asked my ophthalmologist when they did the cataracts, I said, is that going to change with the glare? And he said no. I said, will I be able to see things close up? He said, as long as it's 12 inches away. And so those were the rules that I got, and I said, okay, all right, that's much better than what I was doing. But I'm looking forward to it, something to protect me from the glare. So everybody knows about vision issues. I mean, in one way or another. I mean, because if you have little kids, you take them to the pediatrician, they have their eyes examined. So that's a common thing, and of course, much more so in poor places where the kids have bad vision. There may not be eyeglasses for them. And I think, I'm certainly not a doctor, I think that if you neglect things like that, they inevitably just get worse. So a kid who has bad vision when he's 8 or 9 years old, by the time he's probably 40 or 50, he probably has even more problems. And if he comes from a really poor family, he's not likely to have an opportunity to get any of these things that you're talking about. I would assume most of your clientele is older.
Yes, most of our clients are. I would say probably a high 90% actually. We do get some children. Not really young maybe, but it can range. It can be vision can affect anybody. But Lions also has another offshoot program called KidSight, which comes into the schools and actually does a program where they actually you put on like a binocular type of thing or a shield of sorts.
Yes. And
it actually within about 10 seconds can actually determine if the child has some eye issue.
Wow.
And then they can, notify the parents to say, this child, your child, should see an ophthalmologist. Have this taken care of.
Wow. Do you have any idea how the Lions got involved with eye issues rather than heart issues? I mean, there's plenty of things that there is a need for.
Well, I think it had a lot to do with the Helen Keller. When she said, hey, why don't you guys, her quote was actually become Knights of the Blind. So I think that's what started to get the Lions program initiated to say, all right, we're going to focus on the vision stuff. And so they started, everybody saw, there used to be post office box-like type of, where you would actually throw your glasses into.
Yellow mailboxes.
Yellow with the Lions logo on it, that you would put your glasses in. And so I think that had a huge impact on the Lions back then.
Oh, that's fascinating. And you can see how they say one person can change the world.
Yes.
One person can change the world. There's some stuff right out of the Bible that talks about that. One person saves the world. So that is fascinating. So we have all these Tinker toys. It's just absolutely amazing. What is your most popular toy? I mean, what is the thing that most people really need?
Most people actually really go for these
nice cheap glasses.
These glasses. We do a lot with lighting too. Yes, we provide a lot of lighting, different types of lights for people to use at home, whether it be a desk lamp or a floor lamp that maybe light over your shoulder type of thing, which when you're reading, you got to eliminate a lot of. One of the things is to eliminate a lot of the glare. When you have a lot of glare, it becomes very hard to actually see it. So maybe lighting over your shoulder versus something directly on.
Is this through the same system, like so that somebody who would, like an occupational therapist, would be in your house, or you would tell them about?
So, an occupational therapist that comes into the house could suggest that. But also, if you go to a actual low vision center,
they have these lamps
they have
and
them
stuff.
there, and they can provide them. There's other neat things too, like what we call lap desks. It's a soft padded, like tabletop.
Okay.
So you set it on your lap, and then you can lay a book on it, and then you have like your hands are sort of free, maybe to hold it open and use a magnifier to read it. There's book stands that actually go on a tabletop
Yes.
and hold the book open, so that now you can actually just read it, like, you know,
Not
go
fooling
across
around,
it,
worrying
not
about
having
the
to move
pictures.
around.
Yeah, yeah,
You could
yeah.
use a magnifier with it. You know, so there's several different things, and there's also they're far and few between. I don't want to make it sound like there's a lot of them, but we get donated what's called a CCTV, and CCTV means closed circuit television, and what it does is it's typically a tray that has a screen above it, and there's a camera that points down to the tray. So you would put your document on the tray, and the tray is on a gyro, and then it would be viewed to the screen, and now you would read it in big, large letters because it would magnify it. So now it would you know, maybe make it 24x, which would be 24 times the size of it, and then you could actually read it on the screen.
Do the Lions in any way work with manufacturers to come up with some of these things? Do you have like input into some of the things that
I
mean,
wish we
'cause-
did,
Oh,
but no, we don't.
oh.
But what happens is, I'd like to put a plug in for the VA of Connecticut. They actually, when they get devices that are returned, like a CCTV, they will contact us because they're not allowed to actually take it back in. So they'll contact us, and we will go and collect that device, and then clean it up and put it in nice working order, and then redistribute it.
Oh, yeah, there's
And
a,
then that
yeah.
device, when when it's done with that person, comes out of use, and same thing, and then we can actually keep on moving it around.
Do you encourage people once they don't use these devices to return them?
Yeah,
to
that
the
would
low
be,
vision?
yes.
Do they do that?
If people, a lot of people do that, they contact us and say, how do I get this to you? And we say, we'll pick it up.
Oh, you'll pick it up.
We'll
okay.
go and pick it up.
Yes.
So if you have a CCTV and your parent or somebody has passed, and you no longer have use for it, or their eyes have gone to where it's actually even not effective, please call us, and we'll actually come and take that as a donation.
I'm sure there are a number of people that would actually do this, especially since they don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
All they have to do is call you.
Correct.
Right. Tell us again what the phone number is. This is one of the things I do.
Our phone number is 866-319-9733. And that's an 800 number that you should get in contact with one of our call center agents who is able to answer many questions, but sometimes you stump them. And then they will transfer the call to a representative that can answer the question.
So you get support for these 19 centers from what? From the donations of the Lions themselves?
So the Lions clubs throughout Connecticut are instrumental in supporting us. So all the Lions clubs, we go out and we talk to them and ask them, solicit to them to donate to us. And they do, and that's what keeps us funded. And then we can actually do this. That's probably 80% of our funding comes from the Lions clubs.
From other Lions clubs all over
Yes.
the
So when you
state.
see a Lion doing a fundraiser, please give to that, because a portion of that fundraiser probably will go to the Lions Low Vision Center.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
And so you started this, did you have family members that actually had vision problems no, it's just.
I did. I had cataract surgery, but
Right. Well, that's not serious, because we all,
right,
you
right.
live long enough.
But no,
you can,
I didn't. It was actually, I was queried from another Lion that says, would I take on this role
Yeah.
as administrator? So I did.
Oh, that's
yeah.
amazing. Yes.
Yes.
Because the Lions, I mean, you don't see them so much anymore, but they used to have those yellow mailboxes all over
Right.
everywhere.
Now they've turned them into cardboard boxes that are actually in a lot of doctors' offices.
Oh, I see.
Sometimes in your town hall, they are. And you just go in and you just drop in the glasses, and they get collected periodically. And
Have you had more calls lately because of people caught up in the COVID business where they, they've been stuck in their house, and maybe when you don't have great health, you have a reluctance to leave your house.
Right.
So did you feel like you were getting more calls during COVID than you had maybe 10 years ago?
We were getting more calls for people to come into their homes because they were afraid to actually go out.
Yeah.
But I, on the opposite, it kind of slowed us down because so many people were afraid to come out of their home. We kind of, we weren't getting the clientele through our centers that we normally would.
Is it picking up now?
It's
Yeah.
picking back up, and
Yes.
same thing happened with the donations from the Lions clubs, because a lot of them were not able to do their fundraisers, so they weren't able to donate to us. So because they weren't, we felt the impact also of that.
Yes, and the less people came out, the less people come, they don't give the money. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of nonprofits who have been hurt by the COVID thing,
I would
because
imagine. Yes.
many things that raise money are actual events, and of course people were rightfully afraid to go out, and some people have illnesses anyway, and who wants to aggravate that? And yeah, definitely. So this is just wonderful information about something that really I knew nothing about. I've heard of the Lions, and I knew about the glasses. I mentioned this off camera that I had cataract surgery. Once I had cataract surgery, supposedly I wouldn't need glasses anymore. So I took my 12 pairs of glasses, which I've been harboring for 10 years. I don't know why I kept them, except I'm a little bit of a hoarder, so I don't like to let go of anything. So then I just took the 12, and I did call up the Lions, the local Lions, and gave them my donations. But this kind of stuff, where you're not only helping people, you're giving them all kinds of toys to make their lives so much better. I think that's I don't think people actually know about that.
No, we call it the best kept secret.
Yeah,
But we're trying to get the word out. We're pushing hard we try to get out to, if you have senior centers that you want us to come in and do a presentation to and talk, feel free to call the 866 number, and we'll get back to you, or send us an email through our website, and we will come out and do a talk at your senior centers or community centers, your libraries, anywhere where there's a group of people. We'd be happy to talk about our program.
Do you go, does your group also go to Rhode Island or Massachusetts?
I would like us to expand, but right now we're only Lions Low Vision of Connecticut.
Okay, all right, because
Yes.
I live in Westerly, so
Yes.
we have a senior center and a big library, but
But it's not too far to come to Mystic.
no, I guess not. I
Right.
guess not. Yes, yeah, that's true. That's true. But we have right here in town. There's a big senior center in Groton,
Okay.
and a lovely library. I mean, these are people that I'm sure might be interested. And of course, Stonington has a big community center and a library. And so, yeah, there are definitely places. How would you like to get your name out there? Do you have any ways that maybe we can promote it while we're sitting here talking about stuff? Is there something that you would like, is there an event that you would like to have that would then maybe focus people's attention on your particular expertise, which is with this low vision information?
There is an ophthalmology conference that we would like to be a part of. If we could get into that and actually just spend 5 or 10 minutes talking with the doctors as a group, and tell them about our program. Because, as you've seen on commercials, it's talk to your doctor, talk to your doctor.
Yes.
So we'd like to get it twofold: have the doctors know about our program, and have patients that actually know about us and can actually bring it up to their doctor. So, but there's no true one event, and because we're so statewide, it's kind of, we do a lot of things with health fairs. We try to get in different towns that are having health fairs.
Oh, yes.
We try to get into those.
Right.
To get our name out there.
Get your message out there, you know.
Yes.
And the reason that I remember the yellow mailboxes is because in I think it was Stonington Fair, you guys had a booth or something where not talking about low vision,
Okay.
but just talking about lions
in general.
and the glasses and stuff.
Yeah.
And that inspired me to go home and then figure out. You know, once I had the cataract surgery, I said, "Oh yeah, what am I going to? Who's going to keep these glasses? What good are they?"
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, get them back into use.
Yes, of course, to have another use for another person. Exactly right. And I had like 12, so maybe 12 people would be lucky enough to get some nice glasses.
So I just want to say also that we can't do anything medically for you. So we can't do anything like we can't prescribe. We can't administer drops or anything medically. We can only provide through our centers these devices that can help you. Some people call us and ask us, oh, you know, I can't afford to do prescription glasses. Can you help me? What the local Lions Club in their towns can sometimes get a sponsorship. They can sponsor glasses, and sometimes, so they have to actually present themselves to the Lions and request it to the local clubs. But we cannot provide glasses, any kind of single lens vision glasses. We cannot provide those.
But instead, you provide a whole
We provide
array
a whole
of stuff
gamut.
that
We have
people.
over, Harriet, did I tell you, we have over 250 items available to the occupational therapist to provide.
Wow.
So they can have a whole gamut that they can look through and decide what would be more beneficial to everybody's individual. Everybody's different and unique. So what device may work for one person may not work for another. And so they have these this whole list of devices that they can actually pick from, and you can more than likely go home with that device that day.
Wow, that's amazing. 250 items, huh?
Yes.
Wow, what a shopping list.
Yes.
Yes, you have a catalog or something where the OT person picks
So
them
yeah,
out?
we also have a catalog that they can look through. So if something we don't have in our inventory of stuff,
Right.
they could actually suggest it to us, and you know, if it fits the bill, we'll most likely get it.
So if somebody has
An
something,
OT. If an OT,
Oh, the
if
OT.
the OT is looking through the catalog and they see something that would help a patient that we already don't offer, they can actually request that we get that item, and if it's within budget,
Okay.
we more than likely will do that.
That is absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
Just phenomenal. So what else could you be offering besides the stuff that I see right in front of me? How many other 250 items?
250. There are a lot. You know, like I said, we provide a lot of lighting.
Yes.
Talking blood pressure cuffs, you know, so that people have to do their blood pressure.
That's pretty
Sorry.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a sort of glasses that are called Max TV, so it helps you actually see the television from where you're sitting, so you don't have to be right on top of it.
Right.
So we can do that. It's
amazing.
These lap desks, these tabletop book holders that I talked
Right,
about.
you're right.
There's, you know, many different grades of magnifiers. So so this is actually this particular magnifier that I'm holding is a 4X, so it means it's 4 times as strong as what you normally would look through. But we have magnifiers that go up to 10X. But the problem when you get a magnification and you go higher, this round area
Yeah.
gets smaller. So
You see
instead of
less and
seeing
less,
a lot of
yeah.
instead of seeing a lot of words,
Yeah.
you're seeing maybe a word.
A word. Right?
Yeah.
Or maybe a
So-
letter.
So, but you know, yeah, exactly. So we have a lot. You know, handheld magnifiers are very good if you're going shopping. you want to have them handheld. So maybe you want to read the ingredients on a can,
Right.
or a box of cereal, and see, what the nutrition is. So
I
we-
actually use, I have one because of my mother. She left me too. And I used it to find out the expiration date.
Yes,
on a-
yeah.
on a-
Sometimes
on a-
some of those
on
expiration
a-
dates,
yeah.
even for people with normal vision.
Yeah,
is
they're
very tough
right.
to-
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So I was
Yeah.
checking that out because it was a
So the
dairy
magnifier-
product.
We might all need magnifiers
Yeah.
just for that.
Exactly. Well, I'm most impressed with your yellow laptop. I mean,
Keyboard?
Yeah, the keyboard. So, I mean, I found that to be incredibly amazing. Do you get a lot of response in terms of people wanting that?
It's really, if you use the computer and you're low
Yes.
vision, you might say, I use my computer, but I'm having trouble with the keyboard. All the keys seem to blend, and I'm not a touch typist, so
Yes.
type of thing. So
Yes.
that might be the. So I need to actually see the keys.
Not only does it make it, I mean, this is not made for the vision stuff, but not only is it helpful for vision, but I also think as your fingers get more gnarled from arthritis and stuff, it's a big button there.
A big button.
A big
It's actually
button
much bigger.
to use for your fingers.
So that you can
Has
actually,
multiple uses. I think the same way with the phone, that as it gets bigger, not only does it help you see more, but with your little fractured fingers, you can actually know what you're dialing,
Right.
because you can stomp down on it, and it's easier to do that. But I guess this obviously must be the easiest thing people,
Yes.
and
Yes.
this is a relatively inexpensive item to manufacture,
Yeah.
but my goodness, it could be very, very helpful. Well, we want to make sure that the senior centers around just get to know that you're here and you have this incredible array of goodies to offer people. Now, the closest one here, because we're in Groton, Connecticut. The closest one you said was in Mystic, right?
In Mystic.
Right. And is that a busy one? I mean, is that?
That's right. It's fairly new, so it hasn't been active that long. So it's ramping up.
Okay.
The other close one, not as close, but is in Old Saybrook.
Okay. Well, that's
Okay.
some
Okay.
distance. Not too long.
Right.
Right. What about north? Because this station also covers Voluntown and Montville and places like that. Do you have anything a little bit north of here?
So we go pretty north, very north actually. So
Like Putnam?
like Putnam and Danielson, and then also over in Middletown.
Okay.
So Eastern Connecticut, that's where we're at for locations. And of course, we have Hartford Health at Home and Day Kimball at Home that can come into your home.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The Eastern Connecticut, we have 5 centers, 5 centers in Eastern Connecticut, and we have 19 total throughout the state.
Do you get a lot of walk-ins? In other words, people.
You cannot walk. You
Oh.
cannot just walk in.
Good
Because
to
it's
know.
all
Good to
required to
know.
have a doctor's prescription.
Okay. All right. So you're not getting walk-ins off the
Because
street.
the doctor has to actually prescribe it. We have to actually, the occupational therapist has to report back to the doctor of what services they provided, what did they do, so that when you go back to the doctor now has information of what you did, and then so he reads the notes, and then when he visits with you, he'll discuss, how was your visit at the low vision center? Did you find it helpful? Oh, yes, I did. They provided me with so many things.
Do you put in that report what people actually you gave them?
Some do, some yes.
Some yes, some no.
Yes, it's really, different occupational therapists have different ways of documenting their visits.
Okay.
So it's really how they actually document it.
Yeah. Okay. So nobody go from your car to the location without having first seen a physician. No, you won't get what you won't get any. You won't get any help. So yes, that's important for people to know, because you wouldn't want them driving somewhere and then getting turned away.
And many people have to get rides or take public transportation to get to where they're going, because they've reached a point to where they can't drive or shouldn't drive.
Right, definitely. If you can't see, you definitely shouldn't
Right.
be. Save us.
Right.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. Well, this is absolutely fantastic. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys coming on the
Thank you
show, because this is something that I'm completely ignorant, and yet I do know a number of people with macular degeneration who might actually benefit from your program. All of them go to ophthalmologists. We actually don't have, I think we don't have a lot of them in Southeast Connecticut. We have a couple of them, and I think that would be absolutely wonderful that they tell their ophthalmologist that they're thinking about working with the Vision Center, and what would they recommend, and can they, does the client know that they need this OT person as the middleman, or does the doctor tell them that?
The doctor should tell them that.
Yeah.
That when they schedule, they're going to schedule with an occupational therapist. Yes, he should say that, or the office staff should tell them. But because he's going to say, call for an appointment to the line. Sometimes they may not be communicating, so then they could call the 866-319-9733 number, and then they can get information there.
Okay.
On what the who's gonna see me, who's gonna treat me.
Because well, from my limited knowledge about all the ophthalmologists around here, they have their private offices, which would not necessarily include having an OT person.
No, their offices probably would not.
Yeah, so
the OTs are more associated with rehabilitation, outpatient facilities. And we partnered with many different healthcare organizations through Connecticut. So, from the western side of Connecticut with Danbury Hospital, New Vance, and Greenwich, which is part of Yale.
Right.
We're partnered with them, and Griffin and Derby, and Day Kimball, which is up in
of course, we have
the northeastern
New
section.
London. We have Yale, and we have in Wesley the same. It's
Yes.
the same healthcare system. So the ophthalmologist would know. You would read up first before you went to see the. I mean, what's the best scenario for a person to get the most
Some
out of
people,
this?
before they actually even go to their eye doctor, will call us and ask, "What should I do?"
Okay.
And they say, "What do you provide? What do what is it that you're going to do for me?" That's a lot of the questions. And so then the call center agent will try and answer some of those questions. Sometimes the way the question's answered puts it out of their scope. So then they actually transfer the call to a representative.
And the only way I say this is because there are not a lot of ophthalmologists in this part of the state. I mean, there really aren't.
Right.
So it becomes if the person is really interested in this stuff, I'm listening and I'm saying the best advice is call first.
Probably.
Get an idea so that when you go to the doctor, you might say, I'd like to be involved with the low vision centers from the Lions, and I understand you need to get me an OT. I mean, because I find, not because, I said my daughter's a doctor, so they're busy. And they have many more patients than they would actually, in some cases, really want. So you have to be your own advocate when you go to get health care. So I would say that people listening around here, go and go to the website or give a call, get some information, feel a little bit educated. Then when you go to the doctor, you can advocate for yourself, and then maybe they'll get you, their office will link you up with somebody from OT.
Yes.
So I think it's very important that you be your own advocate, especially knowing we haven't got a lot of medical resources right here. I mean, you got New London has the hospital, but there's a whole bunches of places where we simply don't have any medical care.
Correct.
So, gentlemen, it has been my absolute pleasure to see you and to meet you and to advocate for your incredibly fantastic program, the public service that you do. God bless Helen Keller, wherever she might be, for advocating for the blind. And you'll keep me in the loop and tell me what more stuff you got. Besides,
Absolutely.
you're going to leave me a pair of yellow glasses for sure.
We'll leave you with a pair.
Yes, very good.
And thank you so much for inviting us here to talk about our program and helping us get the word out.
I think it's wonderful. It's just wonderful. I want to let everybody know that, among other things, you know that I'm a writer, and I have a new book out, A Horseman from Baltimore, which is actually about my father's service during World War II. And we're going to have a special program to honor Father's Day, June 20th at noon at the Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center, which is in Pawcatuck, Connecticut, which is really close to Westerly, Rhode Island. So it's a real close. It's a lovely facility. Their lunch is actually going to be available. And I'm going to talk about my dad and the incredible experiences that he had as a man who knew about horses, who ends up taking care of mules, pack mules, and packing them up and getting, as crazy as it may sound, through Burma, through the jungles of Burma and through the Himalayas to aid the Chinese who were fighting against the Japanese during World War II in a China-Burma-India theater, which absolutely nobody ever heard of. And I'd like to share this because not that there were hundreds of thousands of men that were killed, but they were doing an incredible work in horrible conditions. And my father got a medical problem that kept him through the rest of his life, which he got in the jungles of Burma. So I hope you'll come. It's a lovely facility, the Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center, and June 20th at noontime. So I thank you very much for being with me today. I want to thank my guests for coming. They had just a wonderful, wonderful program. So this is Harriet Grayson, your host and producer, A Community Culture Showcase. Adios.